What's up, everyone? It's Chicks in the Office with Rhea and Fran, giving you that Friday energy on a Wednesday. We are back for the Bachelor finale. The season has ended, and we're going to talk about it. A reminder that we are going on vacation after this episode until Friday, March 25th. Our episode will be back. What?
Did you see Noah Noah had to sneeze? It like almost happened and then it passed, but he went like this. and then it passed.
I missed that. But
it was funny. It was funny.
We'll be back March 25th with a brand new logo, revamped.
We'll be back March 24th with part 1 of Harry Potter.
Oh, yes. Sorry. We'll be back
and then March 25th with a brand new logo.
Then Chicks in the Office will be back with a brand new logo. But before all that, let's talk about The Bachelor.
Someone's so excited.
I feel bad because people are like, oh, we don't want to listen to Rhea be miserable about The Bachelor. Why don't we get somebody who actually likes the show? And it's like, some of you hate watch it, be honest.
For sure.
Some of you watch this show and fucking hate it.
Hate watch. There's a line between hate watch and just hate.
Yeah, I actually agree with Noah on that.
I actually don't know. I'm like kind of in the middle of both. Sometimes I like hate, like the past 2 nights, hate watching. Like it was like, I can't look away from this disaster.
Yeah.
Other times it's simply, I hate this show.
Fair.
Sometimes I love the show. It really, the emotions are all over the place. I want people to know that. I stand all over the place on this show.
Yes.
Anyways, that's besides the point. I just want to put that out there because I see a lot of people being like, why, like, Rhea's so miserable. It's like, no, I'm still going to talk about the show, but like, I'm going to talk about it from a very honest viewpoint of how I feel about it.
Correct.
Besides that, we got Clayton.
We do.
We're recording this before we have Clayton.
Correct.
So we're saying that. Is Susie going to be on with that? We have no idea.
We have no idea. We're recording this before... We are recording our normal Tuesday night right after the finale. We have Clayton on. He's coming tomorrow. This is going to sound confusing, but Wednesday mid-morning we're talking to him. So the podcast is going to be a little delayed coming out, but it will be out because we have a quick little hit with Clayton. We had to fight for time, but we're getting 15 minutes with him. Is it with Susie? Is it alone? Your guess is as good as ours.
You'll know by the title by now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You guys will know.
You'll know. We don't know.
We have no idea.
You guys already know. Isn't that funny?
That is funny. I'm going to send out a tweet right now actually about it.
Yeah.
I'm going to send out a tweet and say that the episode will be dropping around 12:30.
I would say 12:30. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe a little earlier, but we'll see.
Yeah, the episode will be dropping around 12:30 because we have a lot of questions.
The last
for
time you did
someone coming back on the show.
Yeah, the last time you did a post-finale interview, remember it was kind of like...
It was Katie and Blake.
No, I know, but it was a good, like, a little uncomfortable.
It was a little uncomfortable.
It was extremely uncomfortable. Yeah, that was a big part of that because this is why we're saying it. That was another instance where we thought it was just Katie, but it was Katie and Blake.
And now you're 0.
And we didn't know.
0 for 1 with couples staying together after coming on Chicks in the Office on a finale.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can keep the streak going.
That's true. So what we're going to do here is we are going to talk about the recap. I mean, talk about the episode. We're going to recap like we normally do, Rhea and I, and then we'll have our little time with Clayton.
Yeah, it should be interesting.
Okay, so let's jump into it. But first,
the best part about Manscaped is that they always got something new coming your way.
They do.
Whether it's the premium package, the lawnmower 4.0, now it's the new Ultra Premium Collection. This is the all-in-one hygiene, skin, and hair bundle designed to upgrade and simplify the everyday routine for the man's shower routine, head to toe. They got the cologne-infused body wash with aloe vera and sea salt, which I think is 2 great things to be putting on your body, keeping you clean and moisturized all day. They got the 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner that cleanses and nourishes in one step, which we all know guys are lazy when it comes to their, hair care routines. So you got the 2-in-1, and they also have the aluminum-free deodorant. You want to be smelling fresh at all times, and the hydrating body moisturizer spray. And the Manscaped Lip Balm. So this is a great premium collection package for all things that you need in your man's life, or if you yourself are a man and want this in your life. So get 20% off plus free shipping with the code CHICKS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code CHICKS at manscaped.com. Once again, let's get the man in your life what he needs to feel great about himself with the new Manscaped shower routine. Go to manscaped.com and use code CHICKS, 20% off.
Okay, so we have, of course, a 2-night finale. We know that it was Monday and Tuesday night, 2 hours live both nights. The drama, they really pumped it up that we were live with Jesse Palmer both nights. We had a lot of Bachelor Nation folks in the audience both nights. Monday night, they were involved in the show. But let's talk about Monday first, because Monday was basically, let me say this. Boy, could they have made this 1 3-hour night.
They definitely could have.
They easily could have. Because that rose ceremony from hell, which dubbed by Jesse Palmer, lasted maybe 50 minutes. Like, they easily could have maybe condensed that a little bit. Yes, was the drama there? Yes, was the moments there? Yes, did they have to show Rachel's echoing cries through this giant building that they're in? Yes, I suppose they did. But it really all kicked off with Clayton at the rose ceremony without speaking to either one of them first. Rachel and Gabby are like, where the fuck is Susie? They're looking at each other like, is she not showing up? Comes out and says, to move on in this process, like, I gotta tell you guys, love you both, had sex with both of you. And that did not go over well.
I think I was more fired up Monday night than Tuesday night, because by the end of Tuesday night, there just was no more steam left.
Yeah.
Like, there
Felt
just
numb.
Exactly. Like, by the end of it, you were like, yep, this is just what happened.
Sure.
And everything that happened is irrelevant.
Yeah.
Because he ended up with Susie anyway.
Right.
And it's never what you think it's going to be. But Monday night, obviously, rose ceremony was terrible. He had to beg Gabby to stay. Gabby ended up staying. Do we wish Gabby just left? Yes.
Yeah.
Does Gabby wish she just left?
Probably.
Yes. Rachel, that is like, oh my God, now I'm the winner by default. She's like, I don't want
Rachel's
this.
face when Gabby said no, she was like, oh my God,
she
no
was like,
one
wait,
else is here.
I'm stuck with him now? Like, this is it?
Like, and nobody wants to be the winner by default.
No, nobody. Default. It always gets me.
It's fine.
It's the same thing,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Anyways. And then Clayton's like, all right, he gives them both the roses. He's going to bring them home to the family.
Yeah.
Why did he bring these two home to his family when he knew damn well that it was Susie the whole time? He knew he loved Susie the whole time. He then brings both Gabby and Rachel home to his family. And then after they both meet his family, he tells his family, you know, these two girls are great, but I really love Susie the most, but Susie left me. And it was like, why did you do that then?
Yeah.
Why didn't you figure out the Susie shit before you brought those two home? You also basically told Susie to leave. Like, the whole thing was a disaster. And then
I don't know. I really think he tried to talk himself into the possibility of the other relationships working. I think he convinced himself, like, I do feel like there is a pressure on the lead to make things work, like to have a successful relationship in the end. So, and it could be ego, pride, whatever you want to call it. Whatever, like, he was angry about what happened with Susie. And I feel like he took that and was like, I need to make this work with Rachel or Gabby. I do really like both of them. In his mind, he thinks he loves both of them, but he's like, I do really like both of them. Maybe we just need a few more days, see what happens. Maybe it'll be one of them. The thing is he like had the Susie feeling because we saw him say it to Susie's face that he loved her the most. And I think he was just like angry enough that he tried to bury that. And then when he actually saw Rachel and Gabby with his family, he was like, I really wish these two were Susie.
it was really shocking to watch.
Yeah,
and
Clayton's dad was also like,
he was
what
like,
the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. And when he told him about Susie, Clayton's dad was like, well, that makes sense, son.
Yeah.
And then
she's like, valid point she made to not want her future husband to be telling other women that he's in love with them.
Right. And that wasn't the worst of it. Clayton then proceeded to break up with both Rachel and Gabby.
Well, I know.
At the same time.
I know. I want to finish talking about Monday and then we'll jump into Tuesday. But that really, the jump and Clayton's family just kind of being like, what is this guy doing? And it really did seem like when he did bring up Susie after his parents met Rachel and Gabby, that especially his mom was like, don't go back. She left you. Like and then he had to fight back being like, no, I pushed her. Like and that was the only time that I felt like, oh, maybe Clayton actually realized he was wrong in that scenario, because he was like, no, like I didn't listen to her. Like I told her to leave and I did not listen to what she was saying. Like I got angry and made her leave. And now he like wants to have this conversation. But it really did seem like his parents were like, Clayton, hate to break it to you, but she's gone. Like it doesn't seem like Susie's an option. So he is fighting for this tooth and nail. And we're hearing from Bachelor Nation, you know, they had Claire there for some reason. Don't know what helpful tidbits she can give.
I don't really understand why any of them were there.
I know.
To be completely honest.
It is funny though, because I would say the same thing about Cassie, but sneaky Cassie had like the best advice.
Maybe besides Cassie, because Cassie
in a very similar situation.
Right. And I think all of them had seen the finale prior. We saw Nick talk about seeing the finale, so I think they all knew what happened. They all had
seen it, yeah.
And so I think that Cassie being there made the most sense, because it was like, don't feel pressure, because that's exactly what happened to Cassie, was that she felt pressured to be with Colton.
Yeah.
So her being there and having that advice for Susie was the best possible advice that somebody can give given the situation.
Yeah. First of all, I was shocked that Cassie was there. I would
think that she wants nothing to do with anything
and I
of
felt
the
like
Bachelor.
No, and I think she's publicly said like she's disassociating from the franchise and all these things. So I don't know if she wants back in or if they reached out to her like, we need you for this situation. But her saying, you know, I really hope Susie doesn't feel pressure totally makes the most sense. And of course that is coming from firsthand experience of dealing with that, where it's like now here comes the Bachelor being like, no, please give me another chance. And it's hard in that moment probably to say no. She's like, I hope she doesn't feel any pressure to keep going if she doesn't want to. And I thought that was absolutely great advice for that moment. Hopefully she did feel that way, but it was just like very bizarre. We're in very bizarre waters here at this point, because Rachel and Gabby, after he basically like is saying, oh, you know, I really do love all of you. He just kept saying it to each of them. I love you. I do love you. I do, like trying to make sure that they stay I really want to see this through, and trying to figure out like who I love the most. And that did not go over well with them at all. Gabby really didn't like that. Super fair, but it's just, that was a disaster. I really felt like, you know, he said, you don't have to stay. Gabby originally says no, she's going to leave. He convinces her to stay, and she ends up accepting the rose. Now Rachel and Gabby are both in it together. Like you said, they think they're in this, just the two of them, the family, the whole thing. And then the episode ends and we go into Tuesday. And Tuesday you just couldn't believe it, because Clayton is fully like, I want to give this a shot with Susie. I got to talk to Susie. He does. He's able to speak with Susie. Jesse goes to speak to her. She's still because that's the end. Clayton, Susie is still in Iceland. It's like, okay, all right, we get it. They speak, and Susie and Clayton really feel like they don't have that long to talk. It didn't really seem like they hashed out anything. It was just Susie explaining how Clayton made her feel in that moment, which was super fair, of like, you made me feel like, you know, like a stray dog. You just kicked me to the curb.
Yeah, I would imagine that they had more time than we see.
Well, we saw, yeah.
And I also think, because it was shocking for us to see Susie walk into Clayton's house to his family, I would imagine they also warned Susie that his parents were there. Like, I don't think that they would just be like, oh, walk in and it's Clayton's family. Like, I think they would probably give her a little bit of a warning. We obviously don't see those things happen on TV. But, yeah, it doesn't seem like, especially a fight like that, and they have to, you need more time than whatever time quickly right there happened.
Because they were talking about, like, the fight happened because they were talking about really serious things, and then it didn't feel like they went back to that conversation at all. There wasn't a moment of, hey, let's rediscuss this. Is it still a deal breaker? How do you feel now? Now, I'm going to go tell the other women that they need to leave. Like, I'm going to go break up with the other women. That conversation, like, never happened. He broke up with Gabby and Rachel. Then all of a sudden he was like getting ready to propose to Susie. Like, there was no in between. The timing was very confusing. And yes, he wrote her a letter, but it didn't seem like there was enough communication between the two of them to warrant him like actually proposing and her accepting. But after that conversation, the first conversation with Susie, he's like, all right, like, I got to go tell these other women. And he goes back in his big giant jacket, walking in slow motion, knocks on the hotel door. Gabby and Rachel are so like intertwined in this that they've just been put together. And I said on Cutting Stems, like, maybe that was on purpose because we now know the Bachelorette announcement. But they're so intertwined now that they're like asking each other, when do you see them be like, so did you meet the family? Yeah. Like, oh, did you get to go on another date? No. Okay, me neither. Like, they're like, what's happening? They have no idea. He goes in and breaks up with both of them at the exact same time. Does not even say, hey, Susie, hey, like, Rachel, I need to talk to you for a second. Hey, Gabby. And granted, considering he told them he loved them all in basically the same way, he probably would have broken up with them in the exact same way anyway. So in his mind, two birds, one stone, I guess.
Right. It's kind of like John Tucker Must Die, except he just did it at the same exact time.
Yeah.
It was maybe the least respectful thing that somebody can do, especially on this show that we've seen before.
Yeah.
At least have the respect to take them out one by one and break up with them rather than, hey, you know what? I told you guys that I love you both, but I'm just going to throw you guys together. Like that, you don't love either of them if you are okay with breaking up with them together. If you really loved either of them, you would feel the need to have to talk to them solo, which I think is what he figured out, was that he was not in love with all three of them at all, because I really don't think it's quite possible. I think you can have love for people.
Yeah.
But I don't think you could be in love with that many people.
Maybe we can ask Clayton and maybe he's going to stick to it and really say he was. I don't know. I just I agree with you wholeheartedly in that I really think he convinced himself because, like he said, he separated each relationship and wanted to keep them all separate and thinking about them. So I understand him feeling like he's falling in love. He didn't even really
separate them all, though, because he broke up with them together.
I know. But I feel like he's falling in love. Totally fair. It's the way he openly told all of them that probably didn't work out the way he thought it would. And it's just like, you can be falling. I do believe, like, I agree with you in that. I think he has love for all of them. I love you. Like, I can love you and think you're a great person. They're all great women. They're all amazing, fantastic women. So I can see him on the outside being like, these women are all great. Like, I have love for all of them, but I'm in love with Susie. Like, Susie is the one I can't live without. Clearly, it seems that way. So to not give any of them, or to give Rachel or Gabby, like, the courtesy of having that conversation in private. We saw how they both reacted. They reacted differently. Gabby was pissed, as she should. She's like, I can't believe you fucking, like, you had to stay, and now we're here, and now, like, you put so much on our decision, and now your decision, you're just getting rid of both of us. Like, how could you do that? You're not, unless stop saying you're in love with us. One of the best moments was him asking if he could walk Gabby out, and she was like, no, like, fuck off. Like, I'm done with this. And poor Rachel, absolutely heartbroken. Like, that was really hard to watch anytime someone is that emotional on TV, like true emotion. And that girl was torn to pieces.
She really was. And I imagine it was really hard for her parents, and especially Big Tone, to have to watch his daughter hysterically cry on TV.
And he's like got the camera on him. In his head, he's probably like, I can't believe I fucking have to be on camera right now.
But they had the most classic parent interaction, or at least what I imagine exactly what would happen with my parents. Like my dad, big tough guy, and my mom, like the sweetest angel on earth, and them like switching roles where the big tone's like, you know, my wife says if I have nothing nice to say, don't say anything, and then the mom is like, well, I don't have anything. I didn't say that. I have nothing nice to say. Like they completely switch roles, and so I thought that was funny, but also I could expect that. Like people think, oh, big tough guy, but like he's not a complete asshole. Like he knows he's on TV, and he knows that whatever he says is really not going to be nice. He probably fucking despises Clayton. I bet all their parents do.
Yeah.
So the double breakup was just ridiculous, and Gabby and Rachel deserved way more respect than that, obviously. And then Clayton 2 minutes later goes and proposes to Susie.
Yeah, I don't really know what his thought process was there, and it's clear, you know, he did in that moment, he did say that he did have all those feelings for Susie, and he envisions his life with her and all of those things. And Susie communicated that was not reciprocated, that those feelings were not on the same level, that he loves her more than she loved him, and it wasn't quite there for her. And he clearly tried to fight for it. He had said, is there any way, like, could it get to that point? Instead of like, even if it is not right now, and or is it just like over? And she's like, no, it's over. But he's still kind of like, he showed how serious he was about the whole thing by being like, I got the ring in my pocket. Here it is. It's here. Oh, it's going back in my pocket.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not proposing, but if you want me to propose, it's here. So, you know, you give me the signal and I'll get down on one knee. And that is just not how that went at all. So then it ends. It's over. And just when we thought Clayton ended up with no one, he's like, Jesse Palmer's like, you know, he ends up all alone. But does he?
We're about to go on a nice vacation as a whole. Chicks in the Office is taking some time off, and some time off is what you need for your mental health sometimes. And with BetterHelp, you can get great mental health resources online with online therapy, which is also very important to keep that brain up there working correctly, making sure your noggin's going the way it should be. Obviously, with our bodies, you know, you can go to the gym, go for walks, get your health right like that. But you have to make sure your mind is also doing the things and working properly to make sure you're feeling clear up there as well. And you could do that with BetterHelp Online Therapy. BetterHelp is great because you could talk to somebody online, like you said. You don't have to go somewhere. You don't have to even see somebody face to face if that's uncomfortable for you. You could do video chat. You could just do online chat. Whatever it is that you feel comfortable with, BetterHelp is there to help you. It's also way cheaper than a normal form or the usual form of therapy that usually costs a lot of money. Sometimes it could be really hard to find a therapist, whether the therapist has the insurance that covers you. It's always a process, and BetterHelp helps minimize that process and makes it easy for you to get the help that you need. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/office. That's BetterHelp.com/office. Once again, betterhelp.com/office, and get 10% off your first month.
Who could it be? They're teasing this woman. And yeah, Gabby and Rachel, we can talk about Susie, but I want to talk about Gabby and Rachel did both have their moment in the hot seat with Clayton. I just don't know if he's like great under pressure or what the deal is, but his responses did feel fairly robotic. I didn't really love the way he apologized to either one of them. I think there's a better way to apologize.
I think he had to flat out say I was wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't think those words came out of his mouth.
No, I don't
like,
think
it was
he
never
knows
like,
that.
he would be like, I was like, he would say he was wrong in a way that didn't really fully feel like he was saying he was wrong. Like, straight up, he should be like, I was wrong.
Yeah.
I was wrong. That's that. The way I handled this, wrong. The way I treated you guys, wrong.
Yep.
Just, I was wrong. And it kind of just felt like he was bouncing around that. Do I think that he's like some evil, terrible guy? No. I think that some people are really bad at handling their emotions and handling relationships. And unfortunately, I think this is what happened with him here. Like, I think that he had no idea how to handle any of this.
Yep.
And that got the best of him.
For sure. I agree with you as well. And he had said, I feel like I had like 5 years of growth in 2 months where he's learning a lot about relationships. And I don't know if he's ever really had that serious of a relationship where he's having conversations like this. So it did feel like you would hope he learned a lot. And Gabby and Rachel both really, they let him have it. Hopefully they got to say everything that they wanted to say to him. Rachel made it very clear. She's like, this is not coming from a place of love or feelings. Like, all my feelings for you are gone. Like, don't take it that way at all. I just want some answers. And, she did ask him, like, did you tell me like you loved me just so you could sleep with me? And he said no. And I think I believe him on that. So it's tough. And hopefully they got what they wanted. Gabby's grandpa is just the cutest,
so cute
man on planet Earth. When she came out and he got up and went up to hug her, oh, it was just the friggin' cutest thing ever. Like, I can't take it. And of course, like you said, they had to have Jesse had to ask Big Tone if he had anything to say. That Rachel's parents clearly unhappy with everything that went down, obviously. And then there's this big moment of, who is it that reached out to Clayton? The last person you would ever expect to reach out to Clayton and reconnect. Who was it? They show a woman walking in the hallway, just her feet. It's Susie.
That's actually the first person I would expect.
I know.
So when they kept saying the last person
You'll
I would
never
expect,
guess.
you're never. It's like no.
No.
That's exactly who we expected.
Yeah,
was Susie.
Quite literally the only person that made any sense to be
Yeah.
in that moment is Susie.
I actually wouldn't expect any other
I know.
person in the world to be contacting Clayton.
Yeah.
After all of that.
Like, it would have been shocking, crazy, ridiculous if someone else from Bachelor Nation walked out that wasn't on his season. But for it to be Susie, who we just saw dump him 5 seconds ago, and he's still talking about her, come back out. Yeah, that one checks out. That one makes sense.
We joked around about it being Hannah Brown because Kelly Keegs thought that Susie looked like Hannah Brown walking out. But it would have just been hilarious if it was like, Hannah Brown's back and she's got a crush on Clayton.
I know. Oh my God. She really did. She did look like Hannah. Like,
or
she really
it's like, it's
Hannah
Kelly
Brown,
Flanagan.
Oh my God. Like, just anybody. Oh my God.
Claire Crawley.
Oh my God.
It's funny.
I know. It's just.
But now Susie's and Clayton are together.
They're together.
And they're on this podcast.
She sits down. Yeah, it's like the jump
We're
is so
talking
funny.
right. We're talking about them.
I know. The jump is so funny. So yeah, she comes right out and there's no hesitation. They're holding hands. She's calling him their boyfriend, girlfriend. They're in love. He's moving to Virginia. All these things, like, I couldn't believe it. I mean, he was just talking to us about his personal training business in Scottsdale. I guess that's moving to Virginia.
It was a lie. Can we expect anything else?
Oh man, but it's they're clearly taking this seriously. They had an I hope they were able to have these serious conversations and talk things out. And I do
think
hope
so at this point.
I would think so too, but I still hope that, like, Susie didn't feel any pressure, but I guess apparently she's the one that reached out to him, so I guess not. But it's like,
and she also said she would be the one to propose.
Yeah, and like, because she was the one who was like, I don't think I'll be able to move forward in this if you love other women. But maybe they went home and he was like, you're right, I didn't love them.
I will ask Clayton this, but it's a question I will propose right now.
Yeah.
If Susie's saying she's the one that would propose to Clayton right now, that's implying that Clayton's not ready to be engaged. And that would imply that Clayton should have never been the Bachelor.
I
just saying.
I don't know if that implies that.
What do you mean? They go on the show. No.
I'm saying Susie saying I'd be the one to propose right now. I don't know if that implies that Clayton's not ready to get engaged. I think that just I think that he just means like Susie is like so ready to, like, Susie's like so in it. Like, I think
and
that was
he's not.
No, I think it was like her way to show that, like, she's dedicated to him because she just dumped him. Like, she literally just said no. We just watched her say it's over and leave.
Right, but then she kept making jokes about bringing out a ring to propose, and Clayton was getting very uncomfortable, and it was like, well, you did kind of propose,
right?
And then say no, like, it's very,
no, it is, and and that's, I hate that gimmick. They always do that, and then he got the final rose, brought out the final rose.
Incredibly cheesy if you proposed right on stage.
No, that would have been awful.
That would have been so bad.
Yeah, that actually would have really been bad. So those, I mean, they're together, and we're about to talk to them, I guess. And also just, ABC, they do so much, they do so much press the day after the finale. So we have 15 minutes. We're going to try and squeeze in as many questions as we possibly can. If we do miss things, we apologize because, we had to fight for 15.
We had to beg for 15. They were trying to give us 5.
We had to beg for 15. So, we are going to get to, let's also discuss The Bachelorette. So they said, oh, it's not Gabby or Rachel. Oh, it's Gabby and Rachel.
It's Vinny and Pauly D. It's a double shot
at love. So they're going to be the joint Bachelorettes. It's not going to be like Kaitlyn Bristow's season where they both come out night one and then the men vote who they want to be the Bachelorette.
That would quite literally kill me. That would kill me.
It's the worst thing that they've done. My initial reaction was I did not like this because I do feel like this energy always pits the women against each other in some way. And now everyone on Twitter was like, oh, there's so many shows that do it and it works. F-Boy Island, Joe Millionaire, I guess Bachelorette or Bachelor in other countries have done it. New Zealand, Australia. There's other countries that have done this. So they're both going to be the Bachelorette the whole season long. We don't really know how like the full structure of it is going to be. Like, is it 30 men and they're going to go on dates with both of them? Is it 30 men and 15 are there for Gabby and 15 are there for Rachel?
I feel like it'd be cool if they didn't see the other. I feel like it'd be better if they didn't see the other person's contestants. Like they had separate ones. At the end of the day, they can talk about like how their day went, but like if you see the other ones, you're gonna see someone that you
but like. There's no drama in that.
I know.
There's no good TV in that. So they're gonna. I mean, there has to be. That's why they do that. And yes, everyone has their type. There's people that are gonna come in, and of course, like if that's the structure of getting to know each of them. But they seem to be very close. They seem to be the best relationship that's come out of this season, honestly. So hopefully that doesn't get fucked up.
I think it'll be interesting to watch for sure. I like changing it up. My initial reaction was bad.
At least they're giving us a new idea.
Yeah, my initial reaction was bad, but I'm coming around on it. I just hope that it's not where they're pitted against each other and then they like the same guy and then the same guy's trying to decide between them, because then it becomes The Bachelor again and it's not The Bachelorette.
I just really, exactly, like it's like when it's when they're doing this with women, The Bachelorette, and they have it take that structure, now you're giving the power back to the men on the show to like make the decisions,
right?
And then the lead has no control. The leads have no control, but I don't know. Maybe they won't have it be that way. I also just don't really like that every time they test out a new like a new show scenario, strategy, whatever you want to call it, it's with The Bachelorette. Like they did it with Caitlyn. They never did that again. They never did the voting for The Bachelor, The Bachelorette on the same night again. Now they're going to try it again to people. They're not doing it with The Bachelor. They're doing it with The Bachelorette.
The 2 hosts also with The Bachelor.
They did 2 hosts with The Bachelorette. It's like, oh, and it's now you two Bachelorette. And Gabby and Rachel are both amazing. I'm very happy that they are both getting a shot at this because honestly, both of them deserve to be The Bachelorette. And I just don't think the world could have handled 2 more seasons. Like I could not. If they did a spring and fall again, like Katie and Michelle, it's just too much. So this is a way to both give them the opportunity and not have it be overkill. I hope it works out for them and it's not a disaster. But the drama will be there, that's for sure. Because it is a structure of a dating show that many other networks have done.
Yes, it will be quite interesting, and it'll be back in July.
I did like F-Boy Island. I did watch that. It was kind of because it was Nikki Glaser hosting, they kind of laughed at how ridiculous the show really was. So it seemed like they were kind of all in on the joke sort of situation. But there were 3 women. They all got along well, it seemed like. So let's hope this works. And yes, July 11th. Oh, thank God.
What a beautiful break.
We got worried because I was thinking they were going back to Bachelorette in the fall, but that's never really been the structure because they've been saying they were going to take a break. And when they had said, oh, Bachelorette's starting up so soon again, I got worried that we were going to be like end of May with a new season of Bachelorette because that's normally how the schedule goes. But they are taking some time, and Mills confirmed July 11th. He heard us crying through Twitter.
Yep. They listened to our cries.
Our literal tears on Twitter. And we have some time to digest and see how this goes. And hopefully they release a game plan. Like they give us a little info on how this is going to work.
Hopefully soon.
Exactly. So the hat wraps it up for, I think, our initial thoughts on this finale. We are now going to talk to Clayton and Susie and see how they're doing. If I had to take a guess, Clayton, probably a Cuts guy. I could see him wearing some Cuts clothing. The nice flattering t-shirts for all sizes, all types. It has a modern tailored fit. Cuts clothing has amazing options like tees, hoodies, polos, and more. They're all the essentials that your guy needs to look sharp. It really is the perfect way to build a wardrobe. Everyone says you got to have those essential pieces, those good tees, those good Henleys, the good sweatshirts and all those things that you can layer and add to and look great. Cuts has totally revolutionized the traditional outdated t-shirt category. They make it easy to mix and match styles and colors so he can find the perfect style. I love the long sleeve Henleys. They're one of my favorite. I think they look great on everybody. I know, Joe has tons of Cuts t-shirts and Henleys that he wears all the time. Those are my favorites of Henleys, I gotta say. So they have even developed their own fabric that would stand the test of time. Their patented fabric won't shrink, pill, or fade over time in the wash. Plus, it's insanely soft. That is very true. There's a system in my household of laundry because someone, not me, is really bad at folding. And I do a lot of the folding. And I'm shocked how nice those shirts come out of the wash. They still feel so great. They're at 100%. They don't wrinkle. They're not immediately wrinkly as soon as you take them out of the dryer. They're really, really great. So make your next gift the best ever with Cuts Clothing. Get 15% off your first order by going to cutsclothing.com/chicks. That's CUTS clothing.com/chicks for 15% off the only shirt worth wearing.
All right, everyone, we are here with 2 very special guests. We are joined by Clayton and Susie as promised. We just recapped the entire episode. Now we are joined by you 2. Hectic night. First, let's just start off with, how are you guys feeling right now?
We're stoked. I think we're both just feeling relieved that we don't have to be in hiding anymore. We were just talking a few minutes ago. I'm like, what do you want to do this weekend? And it just feels fun to feel like it's normal. We don't have to hide.
Yeah. Just waking up this morning felt surreal. Like most of this entire experience has felt, but it was just that really this first morning we're like, wow, okay, like we're on the other side of this now. And we get to, start to plan the future out, which is very exciting.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, Clayton, this is now your 3rd appearance on this show in one season. It's a record. It's a record.
Is that a record?
It's a record for a current Bachelorette appearance on Chicks in the Office. So we're very happy about that.
Okay.
And Susie, we're so excited to talk to you and meet you. And unfortunately, we are putting Clayton on the hot seat a little bit here because that's just
and
how
Clayton
this goes.
Should expect
knows.
this from us.
Okay. Yes. And
He's ready.
I will also be putting you on the hot seat. No, I'm kidding.
Perfect.
We didn't do anything wrong this time. Okay, buddy?
You are correct. Yes. No, let's do it. I'm ready for the questions.
Okay. Because we do want to talk about the happy stuff as well, but we got to talk about the breakups first.
Yeah.
What were you thinking breaking up with Rachel and Gabby at the same time?
Yeah, my thought was that after I saw at the rose ceremony where they consoled each other, I thought maybe that's what would happen again. And so that was my thought, was they'll be there for each other. It'll make it a little bit easier. And as I've since seen from the feedback, it would have been a lot better to do it separately. I don't disagree with that. I just made the decision to do it together because I thought it would be best. It was the wrong decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone
Yeah, it
agrees
was.
with that. Yeah, it was the wrong decision. And I think because you had expressed, and we've seen this over and over again now, that you expressed that you loved every woman there. Like you told them all you loved them. So it was like, well, if he loves these women, then that's not how you treat people you love. With the respect wasn't really there for them. But I think we saw now that, would you say when you said you were in love or loved all three women, that you maybe had the wrong idea of what that really meant to you? Because you clearly were in love with Susie the most. I don't really think you were in love with Gabby and Rachel.
I would say this. I believed that I was in love. When I told them that's what I believed in that moment. And those feelings were genuine. Since being able to be off the show and really making sense of it, because I was lost and I was confused. I obviously have dated in the real world and have dated one person, but that was the first time I ever dated multiple people at the same time. It'll be the last time I do that. And I definitely was lost. Unfortunately, the collateral damage to that was hurting these women, but those feelings were genuine. I guess looking back now at it, I believe that I had fallen in love with those women, but I was only probably in love with Susie as I look back at it.
Right. That makes from the viewer standpoint, it felt like, you can love someone because Rachel and Gabby, let's be real, they're both fantastic women. So you can love them, but it really always felt like Susie was the one. And when you said that to Susie, when you guys were having your conversation before Fantasy Suites, that the love for Susie was there the most, what were you thinking when you did fight for Rachel and Gabby to stay? Did it ever cross your mind that if it works with one of these two girls, they're going to have to watch me just tell Susie I love her the most?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I would have definitely have answered to that. That would have been a conversation had that been the trajectory that would have ended up being what reality was. The way I saw it, was, again, it's like I did have this, strongest feelings for Susie. But we knew that like any one conversation could change everything. And I knew that if I did proceed forward, if that's what was meant to be with the other two women after she had originally left, then that was going to be a tough conversation to have. But as people saw, I was honest, very, very transparent, more so than probably most people thought I should have been. But I knew that all this was captured on camera. I'm not a liar. I'm not one to try to dodge what I'm saying. And I knew at the end of the day that I was going to have to be fully accountable. Therefore, those conversations, as tough as they were, I felt like they were necessary to have.
Yeah, and I think that another thing that people are wondering is bringing Gabby and Rachel home to meet your family. And also at that time, you knowing in your head that Susie really was the one and she had left and you were still thinking about her. Did you think that maybe bringing Gabby or Rachel home to your family would spark something there to make you think it was one of them? Or what was the thought process behind that?
Yeah, I want to say this because just so everyone understands, and we had talked about this, when I said I was the most in love with her, I still hadn't made up my mind definitively that it was her. I was starting to lean towards that, knowing that we were nearing the end of the journey, but I still saw that there was potential that one conversation could change everything. And so I felt that, okay, she left. I still have two incredible women here. And maybe this is what, everything happens for a reason. I do really live by that. And I thought, okay, like this is what meant to be. So go forward, see if you can potentially, start a future with one of these two women. And after meeting the family, it was really, really great. But then once I was away from them, I realized I couldn't take my mind off of Susie. And at that point, I'm like, you need to let these women know as soon as possible. Unfortunately, it took until this point for you to realize that like you can't go anywhere else besides proceeding forward with Susie. And so at that point, I realized I'm like, I have to break this off now. And I owe it to these women. They do not deserve to have to go through this and be dragged along any longer.
Right. And Susie, when you left, were you hoping that Clayton would come back and you were still in Iceland? Like, what was your thought process after you thought you were gone from the show?
Yeah, I kind of was expecting Clayton to come by the next day, not to bring me back in or rejoin the process. But I was like, dang, like that just ended so poorly. Is he going to come by and just end this on a better note? And I wasn't in Iceland, like waiting around for him. It wasn't like I was there just waiting. You have to be there. So, but I was just kind of shocked that that's how it was really going to end for me. And I was like, I was kind of shocked. So when I did hear a knock on my door, I didn't think it was going to be Jesse. I thought it was going to be Clayton for closure or one last conversation. Yeah.
And so it felt like as a viewer that you guys didn't really get to hash out everything that had started in that fantasy suite conversation. So when it came to the end and Clayton was, had the ring in his pocket and you were like, this can't work. It made sense because it still felt like you guys had so much to figure out. Since the show has ended, how has that been for you guys? And the issues that you proposed there, Susie, with, being intimate with the other women and perhaps that is a deal breaker. How have you guys resolved that?
We've had a lot of conversations. We really peeled back all the layers and we've asked every question. There's been no topic off limits. And I did struggle with the concept of him saying in that moment, right now, I love you the most. And for me, I was like, well, if you love me the most, then why would you jeopardize this? That was my thought process. But at the same time, we were living in kind of different realities and they both were valid. I have to and to that point, I have to kind of defend Clayton because it's not unnormal for the Bachelor to become intimate with multiple women. And I knew that, but I also knew where I stood on that. And I was like, I don't want to tell him how to do this, but if it's me and if he knows it's me, then this is how I feel. But the truth is Clayton and I feel like I've been going to say this 1,000 times, but I'm we compared journals at the end of it. And Clayton really did go into that week thinking he kept the door open. He was with each person. And when he was with that person, he was taking the time to explore that relationship with meaningful intentions. And it was never malicious. I say it because I'm I read the journal. The truth is he hadn't made his mind up and he said, I keep thinking about Susie. But I still have these feelings for Rachel and Gabby and I can see a future with them. And as the person that is now with him, when we went through that was hard to read and hard to see. But I think that's a testament to his character and the fact that he was not just he wasn't being reckless. He was going through the process the way he thought it was best. And it's really no different than any other, not any other, but many other bachelors previously. And that night I understood. I was I see your perspective. I understand it, but this is just so complex for me to understand that I had to take a step away. And since then, we have gotten to the bottom of all those conversations and even having, it sounds silly, but having that proof and us keeping journals, both of us, was the best thing we could have done because we were able to really go back to those moments and just discuss everything fully.
Yeah, and I think that every person can relate to being in a position where they say they can't forgive something or they can never get past something. And then you actually reflect on it, you think on it, think from the other person's point of view, and then can come around on it. So I think it's really great that you guys could work through those issues. And obviously you see what everyone's saying during the show and everyone's fired up and everyone's laying into you, including us. But then you see you guys and you just hope that you guys are happy and can have a happy future together. Last night, they talked about the engagement. And Susie, you mentioned that if anyone was going to propose right now, it would be you. What did you mean by that? Because we started talking about it and I was like, well, is that implying that Clayton is not ready to get engaged? Because we just watched this whole show about him going to get engaged to somebody. So what was the meaning behind that comment?
I laughed too. I was like, wait, where are we going with this one?
Yeah, you're do you have a ring? No. Well, Clayton and I talked about the engagement and we've discussed it. We're there's no reason for us to get engaged. If we were to get engaged right now, it wouldn't be for us. And so we had that discussion. If you surprise me with the ring, I was I will say no. But we've made the joke of yeah. And I've made the joke I asked Clayton to be my boyfriend. Like, he didn't ask me to be his girlfriend. And so like, we've kind of made that joke. So when Jesse was like, are we going to expect an engagement and throw it to Clayton? I'm like, oh my gosh, no, like, no, that's not happening. But yeah, we were just kind of goofing off about that because we've joked about it before.
How did you, so it was you who reached out, right, Susie? So how did that go down and how did you guys reconnect? Because I think that is kind of a missing piece here that we didn't really get into last night.
I just slid right into the DMs.
Yeah.
And I was just reaching out to connect. And at that point I didn't know, my intentions weren't to restart a relationship, but we totally cared about each other. We left Iceland feeling this mutual respect. We had this moment, like we always talk about it before I left, where we just like were hugging. And I was like, we just respect each other so much. And no matter what, I think we knew that we would be a part of each other's lives, and we didn't know at what capacity. So I just reached out to him to see how he was doing. And I said, if you're open to it, I would love to have one more candid conversation. And that conversation lasted like 5 hours. And we just kept talking, and yeah, I mean, there's a lot more to it, but that was the gist of it for me.
Final question, because of course we have to wrap up. Sorry, Clayton, I'm cutting you off here for a second, but I just want to ask if you guys have watched these last couple episodes together, and Susie, what your relationship is like with Rachel and Gabby, and how you felt kind of watching this unfold.
It was tough to watch back, and it was tough for both of us. We both felt like worry and concern for both of the women, and we didn't shy away from those topics with each other. We both felt it just was awful to watch, knowing how heartbroken they were. All three of us were super close at the end. You can't not be close unless one of us is a bad egg, and none of us were a bad egg. Yeah. So we all were really close at the end there. Gabby, I would say Gabby is like my best friend from the show. We made it all the way to that point together. I was like writing her notes and like asking people to slip them to her at the end. And we both think so much of both of them that it was really hard to watch. But, I've had the closure with that chapter, like knowing where his heart was and knowing that his intentions were never to hurt them, but that it happened. So it was just tough, but we've gotten through it.
Rhea, anything you want to say to close?
I think it's crazy that you were sitting with us knowing that you did all of this just a couple weeks ago, Clayton. Like I was thinking back last night, I was like, this guy was sitting next to us, smiling ear to ear, probably because you were with Susie, happy that you guys reconnected. But it's what a crazy season finale, like they had advertised. But we wish you guys the best. I'm glad that you guys were able to work it out. And as much as we disagreed with basically all of the decisions that you made last night, Clayton, we're happy that you guys were able to reconnect and, find that love.
Besides reuniting with Susie.
Yeah, no, that I said.
I'm like,
I know. It's like, let's be clear. Like,
I am so happy about that. I just want Susie to be happy with the decision she made, getting back with you, Clayton. I think that's what everyone was coming from, but it seems like you guys are happy. So we're happy for you guys.
Thank you.
So much.
Best of luck in Virginia. What do they say? Virginia's for lovers, right?
That's right.
Yeah. There you go.
Virginia's
so best of luck.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. Clayton, you're a good sport. And we'll talk to you soon, I hope, for a fourth time.
Yeah, you guys will be back.
Let's keep breaking records. Let's do it, guys. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
See ya.